At number 10 is the Yeoman America armor. This costume is introduced in Avengers Volume 3 issue number 2 when Morgan Le Fay uses a reality distortion wave, which turns all the Avengers into medieval versions of themselves. And Steve Rogers' look totally changes as well, with his armor resembling that of a medieval knight. What gives this suit a spot on the list is the fact that it comes with a sword, and considering how powerful Captain America is without a weapon, just imagine what he can do wielding a sword. Now, there are downfalls to the suit as well, like it appears as though it has reduced mobility due to the loincloth thing, the crude knee pads, and the hood. And one might argue that since it's a medieval costume, the shield would be made of a traditional steel or iron instead of vibranium or other reinforced metals. But still, this is a list about useful suits, and there's no doubt a sword definitely has its uses. At number 9 is the original Howard Stark redesigned suit. Okay, fine, you've probably heard of this one, but it's pretty dang useful, so it deserves a spot. Firstly, it's the first time he's given his round shield with the star and stripes, and it's made of, as Howard puts it, all of the vibranium they had at the time of its creation. This means that this suit marks the first time that Steve Rogers has all the freedom he wants to use his shield as a weapon without any recoil from his blows. The suit is also made with carbon polymer flame-resistant materials, a bulletproof helmet, and a utility belt with a gun holster on it. And we all know that in the comics, Captain America doesn't typically have a gun, so this is a huge plus for this suit. This makes this suit a great choice to take out of the closet if ever Captain America is faced with a mission where he might come under fire and have to return some himself. Pretty handy if you ask me. At number 8 is the Nomad suit. Unless you're a real Captain America fan or you just spent 2 days researching Captain America suits, you may not know about this one. Basically, back in 1974 in issue 180, Steve Rogers decides he's done with all the politics of being a hero and puts down the costume altogether. In its place, he decides it's time to design himself a brand new suit and go under the moniker of Nomad. And because of his background as a comic book artist, Steve decides to design it himself using regular materials, and he gives himself a cape. Okay, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you're probably punching your screen right now. Like, how can a costume made out of like a polyester blend be useful at all for Captain America? But here's the thing, this suit is useful for any time that Steve Rogers needs to go under the radar or blend in with the night. It's also got a lot better mobility than his typical suits without all that bulky armor in his way. So I would argue that throwing on the Nomad suit is probably one of Steve's best options for a truly stealthy suit that he could use for covert operations. No one would recognize him, and even if they did, they might have a harder time chasing him down with what would probably be increased mobility and camouflage in the shadows. A bit of a stretch? I don't know. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments.
Number 7. Threats and Menaces suit. TNM, or Threats and Menaces, is a news website in New York City, and after a long time of being unemployed, Peter Parker accepts a job there. They give him a new suit that can record his perspective as Spider-Man and broadcast it live, giving viewers a first-person view of Spidey's battles, essentially turning Spider-Man into a streamer. It 100% defeats the purpose of being a hero, and if he wasn't doing it because he had no job at the time, I think it was kind of sleazy, but it's also kind of really awesome. Like, I definitely watched that. The suit also got a new, really cool white, blue, and yellow color scheme, and enhanced his strength and speed. If that wasn't enough though, the suit also has holographic abilities, and every few minutes includes a word from TNM's sponsors. Number 6. Spider-Man Earth 71928. On Earth 71928, Peter's life remained pretty much the same as Earth 616 Peter until Uncle Ben died, and Peter killed the robber who shot him. In a very Punisher-like decision, Peter decided to deal with crime by any means, meaning he killed criminals. Peter tried to avoid this at first, but since criminals be criminals, and that life is kind of hard to leave behind, they always came back, and gosh darn it, Peter was not okay with that. Yeah, a great reason to be a murderer, man. He carried the pistol that took Uncle Ben's life, as well as other weaponry with multiple different types of ammunition. His suit also took a skull logo instead of the traditional spider logo due to the spider that gave him his powers being a noble false widow, which has a cephalothorax that looks like a skull. Yeah, okay Marvel. You know, I'm seeing a lot of Punisher parallels here. Strange. Number 5. Upgraded Advanced Suit. The Advanced Spider-Man suit in the Marvel Spider-Man video game always deserves a mention, but it's literally on the cover of the game. So another armor native to that game though comes to mind. That's the upgraded advanced suit. Peter creates this armor out of the same material that Dr. Otto Octavius created his cybernetic limbs with. While he originally made this suit as a side project, it became extremely useful when Doc Ock became his sinister self. The suit allowed Peter to be able to actually stand up to his old mentor, and it looked really good doing it. All black metal-like material with the yellow eyes and the spider symbol. After I beat the game, I definitely used this as my main suit, and you know what? It's actually worn on top of the advanced suit, so I'm kind of hitting two spiders with one stone here. Number 4, Spider-Man Carnage Doppelganger. We all know Spider-Man had the awesome Black Venom symbiote suit, but did you know Miles Morales had one too? When he was forcibly bonded with a symbiote by Carnage, the resulting suit is a corrupted looking version of Miles' already awesome suit, with a jaw, splashes and spirals, and ripped gloves and boots. It also changed colors when in a fight. Just like Peter, Miles eventually got control of the suit, changing its look with red streaks under the eyes. Also, the spider logo was skinny and the legs extended and wrapped around the shoulders and thighs. This suit was both useful and detrimental. All the perks of having a symbiote bonded suit, but also with all the cons. It didn't last as long as Peter's run with the symbiotic suit though, which sucks when you know how much better it looks. Don't kill me in the comments for that. Hold up. Hey, before we carry on, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for being you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting that like button. And if you did it, thanks for subscribing. It means a lot to us here. Okay, now let's carry on before I get too sentimental. Number 3, the black cloth suit. After Peter Parker defeated Venom and removed the symbiotic suit, his girlfriend at the time, Black Cat, gave him this black cloth Spider-Man suit that was thankfully not a symbiote. Her reasoning was that, well, to put it plainly, she thought he looked sexier in the black suit. Hey, we all know black is sexy, okay? He was initially resistant to the idea, but he had to wear it because his other suit shrunk in the wash. Yes, that's the actual reason. Peter Parker problems, am I right? Really, it was because fans loved the black suit. I am one of those fans. The black suit and his traditional suit were swapped in and out from time to time, and the black suit was even his primary suit for a while when the other one was destroyed. This suit was useful for Peter as his girlfriend loved it and fans loved it. Oh, and it was really good for stealth and intimidated the hell out of bad guys. Yeah. Number 2, Fear Itself suit. If you don't know about the Fear Itself story, well, change that please. It's an awesome story. Basically, the brother of Odin, who is evil, returns and sends these magical Mjolnir-like hammers to Earth that corrupt heroes and turn them into his chosen. That's a ton of power, and the heroes really struggle to quell that threat. Tony Stark and the dwarves of Nidavellir team up to create Uru armor and weapons for a bunch of heroes. Spider-Man was one of those heroes. The suit had 2 gauntlets on each wrist, which were equipped with blades on each arm which could be used as melee weapons. It also changed the color scheme to a neon-like blue and white scheme. It was really sweet looking. Unfortunately, we don't really know the full capabilities of the suit as Odin ordered it and the other Uru weapons to be destroyed after the conflict. But it had to be extremely useful against the Asgardian level threats because they won. Number 1, Superior Spider-Man suit. Fans of the character will know that the Superior Spider-Man is actually Dr. Otto Octavius, who switched bodies with Peter Parker. After Peter died in Otto's body, and Otto was shown the experiences and memories of Peter, he decided to become an even better Spider-Man. Part of that process included creating a new suit. The modifications to the suit weren't just aesthetic. Otto added a heads-up display on the lenses. All of the fingers on the gloves have retractable claws on them, and the big toe on both boots is separated from the rest of the boot, and both have retractable talons, which is kind of weird. He also added carbonadium in the mask to prevent mind switching. He added a built-in communications device to activate nano spider tracers, and created spider arms on the back. When Peter came back, surprise, he used the suit with energy weapons and extra arms in order to defeat Itsy Bitsy. Yes, that's a villain. This suit was much more advanced and also looked pretty awesome.
At number 10, we have the Thrasher suit. This suit appears in Night of the Owls when the Talons of the Court of Owls track down his Batcave. Batman learned that due to their Electrum implants, the Talons had a weakness towards cold. The Thrasher suit is designed to withstand extreme heat and cold while allowing the wearer to have weeks worth of oxygen while being protected. So, Bruce Wayne turns the air in the Batcave extremely cold, weakening the Talons and taking them out with his Thrasher suit. But this isn't the only time this suit would come in handy. If Batman ever had to face off against another superpowered individual with fire or ice capabilities, this would be the suit that he would be able to turn to. Or I would imagine any underwater fighting could also be done with this suit due to the oxygen tanks built within it. At number 9, we have the Troika suit, or Jean-Paul Valley's armor. When he takes up the mantle, Jean-Paul decides it's time to update the suit he has to wear when it's time to go out to fight crime. His version of the suit is made of Kevlar and Nomex, making it impervious to bullets. He designs this suit preparing to face Bane and the mass breakout at Arkham Asylum. So, this suit is designed to face serious physical damage from an onslaught of angry prisoners with makeshift weapons. It also protects against intense heat in case of Molotovs or flamethrowers or anything like that. The suit also has a matte black color scheme, camouflaging him against the darkness in the city while he goes in to face this event. This suit is similar to the original, but it makes it onto this list because it's one that a lot of people don't talk about very often. And it just looks really cool. At number 8, there's Batman's Predator suit, which in Batman vs. Predator, he designs to face off against the alien creature. When in battle with the Predator, he's badly wounded and partially blinded, so when he adopts this suit to continue the fight, the sonar capabilities of the suit help to compensate for his blindness, and the exoskeleton of the suit gives him a boost of strength when he needs it most. In this battle, Batman hits Predator with a tranquilizer, which could have come from the suit as well. This suit is perfect for stealth missions with high risk for combat. The sonar would allow him to infiltrate any space without detection, and the exoskeleton would protect him from any resistance he might meet along the way. And when he's able to find his target, he could take them out initially with one of those tranquilizing darts. It's another suit that he made use of in a very specific scenario, but it could be very useful in the future. So don't hang this one up quite yet, Bruce. Keep it, at least until you run out of Batsuit space.
Number 7. Superman Red Sun. We don't actually know a ton about the Batman of the Superman Red Sun story, other than his origin. What I picked up from actually reading this comic is that this version of the Caped Crusader is a bit more of an improviser, making use of what he has more than being able to purchase absolutely everything he needs. His suit and even the Batcave actually kind of reflect this. It's less form-fitting, being more like a coat and snow pants. And he even sports a Ushanka-style cowl. He also had more pockets and pouches all over and is seen with a bat-shaped axe grappling hook type weapon thingy. Due to his position as leader of a terrorist group, he carries bombs alongside his usual gear, and he even had a Batman-shaped dummy somewhere in one of those little tiny pockets. Number 6. Kingdom Come. In the story Kingdom Come, we see a world set 20 years in the future, when the noble, great heroes had mostly all retired, giving way to a younger generation of anti-heroes. Bruce Wayne had his identity revealed and had been crippled by Bane and Two-Face. This, along with his natural human aging, caused him to retire. But it's Batman, and he will never fully be out of the game. He completely turned to the Bat side, becoming the Batman, abandoning his real name and taking rule over Gotham City from his Batcave with an army of robotic Bat Knights. But this is a list about Bat suits. His new Bat suit is a mechanized power armor that allows Batman to fight in hand-to-hand combat despite his past injuries. The suit comes with grappling hooks, lasers, and sharp blades, and it can even allow Batman to fly. If that weren't enough, not only does it allow him to move like he once did, it actually gives him super strength as well. Number 5. A Joker Batsuit. What's the best way to attack Batman? You attack him personally. In the Joker Wars storyline, Joker does exactly that, stealing Bruce's money, his influence as Batman, and his weaponry and equipment. He even steals a version of the Batsuit. What makes this even more of a personal attack is that this suit was meant to be a possible future Bright Knight suit. Joker modified the suit with a big smile over the bat symbol and ha-has all over it. We first see the suit after it is shown that the Joker dug up the body of Alfred and reanimated it with the Joker toxin. Everything he is doing is to personally attack Bruce, and this suit, in combination with everything else, was the perfect way to do that. Its use isn't helpful. Its use is against Batman. Is that cheating? I mean, I don't know. You decide. Number 4. Thanagarian armor. In the DC Justice miniseries, Batman ends up wearing a suit of Thanagarian armor to protect himself from Brainiac's mind control. This wasn't all this super sweet armor could do though. The armor is able to resist punches from Superman, and it's designed for combat against the world's toughest villains. Like a lot of other useful Batman armors, this suit also has a propulsion and wing system that allows him to fly, helping him deal with many more threats. It is also very obviously a callback to the old Batmobile from the 1966 Batman live-action series with the black metal red accent look. It's a shame we don't see more of it. Number 3. Augmentation suit. In a Batman and Robin New 52 storyline, Batman faces off against a villain called Terminus, trying to prevent him from destroying the world. Bruce faces Terminus in a new suit called the Augmentation suit that is equipped inside the Batmobile. While we haven't seen much of this suit yet, it is more agile than Batman's other armored suits, and it's capable of granting the man inside crazy super strength, the ability of flight, and it allows Batman to stop a nuclear missile dead in its tracks, which is really all I need to say. It's an incredibly advanced and strong Batsuit, easily making it one of the most useful. Number 2. Rookie Bat Armor. This point actually technically covers 2 suits. And this point actually technically covers 2 suits, and one is another mech suit. This isn't actually worn by Bruce Wayne. This suit actually appeared at the end of Endgame. The DC story Endgame, not Avengers Endgame, obviously. And is worn by none other than Jim Gordon when Bruce is missing and presumed dead. The super heavy Batsuit and the small stealth suit inside of it were created by Powers Tech for the GCPD. It had digital camo, thermal imaging, an auto defibrillator, enhanced strength, cape-shaped bomb shields, rocket thrust boots, anti-gravity magnets boots, a tear gas cannon, a smoke pulse cannon, decibel defense, and a voice changer. It allowed the former commissioner to take the place of Batman for a short period of time. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. Before we get on to the number 1 pick, I just want to say a quick thanks from me and all of us at Top 10 Nerd for watching, liking, and subscribing. Unlike Batman and the Bat family, we appreciate and need your support all of the time, not just when things get difficult. Number 1, the Hellbat suit. So we all know Batman is just a dude in a bat suit. He has to use his ingenuity and skill to defeat threats that metahumans can face one-on-one. But when the threat is too great, the metahumans help him out. Enter the Hellbat suit. Designed by the Justice League core members, the Hellbat suit was actually forged by Superman inside the sun. The Hellbat armor allows Batman to fly, run at super speed, and emit huge energy blasts, while also boosting up his strength and durability. Obviously, it has to have a downside, or there's no reason he wouldn't wear it all the time. It slowly drains Bruce Wayne's life force, and would actually kill him if he wore it too long. There's always a catch. Number 10, the Arctic armor. First appearing in Iron Man number 318 in July of 1995, the Arctic armor was made to withstand the harsh temperatures and conditions of the Arctic. While mainly used by Tony so he could access his secret Arctic bunker, the suit could be used in other cold weather situations, like if he had to fight an Arctic-based villain. Being in Canada, I would absolutely find a use for this suit. For example, I could use it to walk to work without the air hurting my face. Number 9, Hydro armor. We know that the Iron Man armors all have some underwater capabilities. We saw it in the first Avengers movie, but the Hydro armor can work at underwater depths of up to 3 miles down, surviving the crazy water pressure that comes with being deep in the sea. I'm gonna be honest, this couldn't be me. The ocean makes me wet my tidy whities. But I guess when you've got like a tri-beam style unibeam, mini torpedoes, electrical field generators, and an octopus style black ink thingy, you are a bit more safe. Number 8, high gravity armor. I like this one. Even if its design is goofy, it's something I think would actually need to be taken into account. This suit was made to help its wearer withstand the increased gravity conditions of hyperspace travel, helping the body keep blood in the limbs, not just the torso, and those huge feet helped with moving around. The suit helped Tony withstand 50 Gs, but its actual limits haven't really been explicitly mentioned. It didn't stop Tony from passing out from G-Lock though, and it definitely didn't stop him from puking, but it cleaned him up and disinfected him, just like a good friend after a party.
Okay, at number 7 we have the DC 1 million Batsuit. This one resembles the original Batsuit quite a bit, but it's just got so much more going on that should give it a good spot on this list. It has abilities like camouflage, night vision, it has a fireproof cape, a reinforced exoskeleton, gliding wings, armor, a hard drive that holds over 10 times the amount of data as the Bat computer, which he could also wirelessly connect to if he needed to. The suit also has electrical absorption and holographic capabilities. This one is just so supercharged that for the average Batman confrontation, no one would stand a chance. It still sits further back on the list, but only because some of these ones coming up really go above and beyond in the face of some pretty tough villains. At number 6, we have the Batwing suit, worn by David Zavimbi's successor, Lucas box. This suit has a faceplate, retractable cape, as well as an interior skin that reads his health at any given time and even offers first aid if needed. This could include hardening around a broken limb to hold it in place, or administering painkillers if there was no chance of taking a break from battle. The Batwing suit also has invisibility that uses holographic sensors. This suit doesn't allow for flight, but it does have a glider for jumping between buildings or escaping a tough situation. There's also a really bright bat symbol right in the chest that can blind or otherwise distract any opponents in combat. It also just looks really cool when it's lit up. This suit can also be controlled by voice commands, kind of like the Iron Man suit, and get this, it can actually take blood samples and compare them with samples from the Gotham City Police Department crime database. It also has hands-free phone capabilities to boot, which is pretty nice, and the suit can also change Batman's voice in case he needed to replicate someone else's, as well as a smoke screen. There's even more stuff that I'm leaving out, but I'll just leave it at that for now. This thing is just out of control and makes for a great tool to keep the user safe and ready for a fight. At the 5th spot, we have the Trinity armor, which Batman uses to go into battle with Bizarro. The look of this armor in the original comics is pretty clunky, but it was still able to do some really cool stuff that the original suit wasn't able to do. It could throw electrified nets, grenades, and it had solar lasers attached to the fists, which prove helpful in his assault alongside Wonder Woman. In these cases, a stronger suit comes in handy for Batman, who sometimes finds himself alongside more powerful beings with superpowers, allowing for more of a fair matchup for the masked vigilante. This suit has a lot of armor as well, and parts to the costume that give him more strength, and robotic pieces that allow for more speed. The suit protected him from full-on punches from Bizarro, which says a lot about the man-made suit. Bizarro does get the best of Batman after a few too many superpowered punches, but the suit served its purpose until Superman was able to arrive and finish the job. At number 4, we have the Stealth Suit, which was used very briefly in Superman Unchained number 2. This suit was designed for Bruce to find a way to hide from Superman. It's designed to take the wavelengths that the suit emits and hide it from superpowered beings. Another plus of this suit is how light it is. Although Batman is usually up against run-of-the-mill human criminals, this suit would probably be the best suit for a real infiltration during an operation against anyone superpowered. Considering Batman is often outmatched in situations against superpowered beings, being able to hide and move around with a stealthy suit is hugely useful. And this suit is so obscure, I figure that only the real fans even know about it. Batman really has a knack for putting these suits together when he needs them most and then scrapping them. I hope they're made out of recyclable materials. Okay, at number 3, we've got the Suit of Sorrows. This one is really unique both because of its age and the tales that it actually has magical capabilities. Built during the Crusades in 1190 CE, this suit at first glance seems like a basic piece of armor, but it's known to actually cause the user to become more violent. And when it's gifted to Batman by Talia al Ghul, this proved to be true. The reason why this suit sits higher on the list is that it's the only suit that I could find which is actually known to be enchanted in some way. Every other suit uses some kind of complex human technology, but a magical Batman suit just had to fit on this list. Besides, it could come in handy if Batman ever needed to go extra hard on some of his enemies, helping him to abandon his usual heroic tendencies to help him go a little harder on the tougher foes. Not sure who or when this could be useful, but it just strikes me as one of those pieces that Batman might want to keep around for a day when he's really matched against someone pretty bad. At number 2, we have Batman's Insider uniform. This suit is created with extremely high-powered technology, allowing for teleportation. This suit is so cool because it's able to connect with Justice League teleporters, allowing the wearer to teleport anywhere on Earth. This, I'm pretty sure, is a first for any Batsuit, but there is a catch. The suit requires a lot of energy and needs to be recharged pretty often. But that's expected for a piece of human tech like this. The good news is that aside from being able to be charged by any typical power source, this suit can also be recharged through any source of power being directed at it, which hints at some pretty cool absorption powers against superpowered opponents. This suit was designed to have Batman fit into the Justice League more seamlessly with abilities that allow him to adopt powers from everyone else on the team. Although all the powers are limited to the energy supply of the suit, it has super speed mode to replicate the Flash, heat vision mode to replicate Superman, either through the eyes or the helmet's like central eye. Willpower mode, inspired by the Green Lantern rings, which offers a big concentrated blast of energy like the Owen power rings. And the suit also has camouflage mode, inspired by Martian Manhunter, allowing the user to turn invisible. It also has a cord like that of Wonder Woman, which forces those ensnared in it to tell the truth, also being able to zap that foe with an electric shock just for a little bit of inspiration. And to top it all off, the suit allows for flight using magnetic fields. Just thought they'd throw that on the end there. Batman can fly in this suit. Okay, at number 1 we have the Justice Buster. This suit just looks absolutely insane, and it was used to take down the entire Justice League when Batman went bad on them. It's obvious by its appearance that it has enhanced armor, taking hits from supervillains with actual super strength, which is usually unheard of for Batsuits. And some of its very specialized offensive functions are its bind of veils, used to incapacitate Wonder Woman, its hyper-fast servers, used to process information faster than the Flash can run. This part of the suit was most expensive, as well as a hyper-fast cannon that can take out the Flash despite his super speed. This thing fires faster than Batman can even sense anything has happened due to the servers mentioned before, which is insane. He's able to take down Aquaman with his powdered magnesium carbonate cannon, which binds Aquaman's body in this goopy substance, preventing movement. An electromagnetic nerve tree used to defeat Cyborg, a citrine neuralizer which is used to defeat the Green Lantern, prevents him from using his ring. The fist of the suit actually contained red suns collected from dead solar systems, which is a weakness of Superman's, making his punches super effective against Superman in this suit. It also has plasma shields to defend against Superman's heat vision and thermal capabilities to protect against freeze breath. Wow, that's a mouthful. That's a lot of stuff, and I didn't even get all of it. This is objectively the most powerful suit in Batman's arsenal, having so much in it and so much use that he can actually take out one of the most powerful superpowered alliances in the cosmos. Wild. Which starts our list at number 10 with Spider-Man's bulletproof suit, or Spider Armor Mark II. This suit is designed when Peter Parker loses his spider senses, which we all know would make him much more susceptible to bullets specifically. So instead of taking a break and hiding away for a while, or being too heroic and going out and getting shot, Peter just creates a new and improved spider armor to face off against Massacre, a mass murderer. Massacre had captured a bunch of hostages, but when Spidey swoops in, he makes easy work of the killer by easily deflecting his bullets. The suit's magnetic webbing also interferes with the villain's ability to remotely activate traps, which I'm not sure was planned or not, but hey, the suit comes through again for Spider-Man in that way too. This suit was very useful for this very specific situation, but sits back on the list just because there are simply much better suits coming up. Okay, at number 9, we've got Spider-Man's Electro-Proof suit. This suit was created in Amazing Spider-Man number 425 in an effort to get a one-up on Electro, a villain who we all know has electric powers. The reason why Peter Parker hadn't come up with this idea before is that it just didn't seem necessary, as Spider-Man could usually find ways to outmatch Electro. But this time, Electro had found a way to supercharge himself and become even more powerful than ever before. So Spider-Man decides to design a brand new suit, which also just looks really cool. Although it was first presented in the comics, the suit can also be used in 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game for PS4. Okay, number 8 goes to the SP//DR suit. Kinda says spider in a fun way. This suit is featured in the hit animated movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but was first introduced in the comic event of the same name. The suit is controlled by Penny Parker, who's taking over for her late father, who used to man the suit. What's interesting about this armor is that it's partly controlled by a living radioactive spider that lives within it. And to use the suit, Penny has to get bitten by the spider, which she dutifully does. The suit is massive, offering tons of protection, and it shoots extra durable webs out of its integrated web shooters. And a suit that's mechanized and able to shoot webs even stronger than those of the original Spider-Man comes in handy when facing off against bad guys like Penny's universe's Mysterio. In a big face-off, the suit proves useful when Penny is able to avoid the effects of a nauseous gas emitted by Mysterio, so it seems like the suit also offers some pretty effective filtration. Not the most versatile suit, but an interesting one that might come in pretty handy in certain situations.
Number 7. Ghost Panther. In this alternate reality, called Warp World, the character T'Challa was merged with the character of the Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. And can I just say how insanely amazing of an idea this is? The arrogant Prince T'Challa is exiled from Wakanda and goes to America, taking up the show name Johnny Blaze. After a fatal accident, Jericho Simpson, which is a warp between Brother Voodoo and Crash Simpson, invokes the demon Zarathos, who is the half-sister of the Panther goddess Bast. T'Challa actually refuses to become the spirit of vengeance at first, but eventually he did. Now, while this isn't really a panther habit, it is a Black Panther Ghost Rider who rides a giant flaming panther, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not really seeing a downside here. Number 6. Proto-habit. Oh, Deadpool, you silly, amazing character. Okay. So basically, what happens here in Black Panther vs. Deadpool number 4 is that Mr. Poole heads to Wakanda to steal a bit of vibranium to help him heal a mailman. Wade actually ends up grabbing a red ceremonial Wakandan necklace and puts it on to go and make his escape. What he did not know is that this necklace was actually a prototype Panther habit. The suit analyzes his DNA, and since Black Panther has everybody's DNA on file, it remakes itself on Deadpool, adapting to his usual color scheme and the weapons he likes to use, christening himself Panther Poole. Or Dead Panther. No, Panther Poole. Panther Poole's better. It also pretty much brings him up to par with the true Black Panther, which is proven when the two get into it, until Wade's pocket-sized teleporter gets damaged and he teleports to the vibranium mine, which he then teleports to right outside New Jersey. Shuri's suit. As I said before, there was a point in time when T'Challa was attacked by the forces of Dr. Doom, putting him in a coma. The one who took up the mantle of Black Panther was his sister, Princess Shuri. Along with the powers that come with consuming the heart-shaped herb, Shuri also received a panther habit. None of us should be surprised to know that Shuri herself, while being perfectly capable of hand-to-hand combat, prefers using weaponry and tech. This is reflected a little bit in her habit, which is a bit more tech-savvy. Her tech and weaponry include a truncheon capable of dishing out electric shocks, shock nets, snake bites, which are pellets used to immobilize enemies by releasing knockout gas, and desert sand, which are microscopic sand-like devices that can release an EMP. The claws on Shuri's habit were made of vibranium shells encased by adamantium, which is a little overkill, but nice. She also used to carry standard Wakandan-made spears. She now appears to have Zuri's spear of Bashenga, which belonged to the founder and first king of Wakanda. Number 4. Panther battle armor. Okay, bouncing right off of that, Shuri actually dons another Panther armor during the events of Doom War that I just really want to talk about. Shuri wore a battle mech armor that further amplified her strength, endurance, and durability past its already peak human levels to superhuman levels. The battle suit also had new cool weapons like this pair of vibranium powered daggers. Some versions of this armor that the Dora Milaje wore have flight capabilities with these really sweet heli drone like packs. The battle armor also has sensory arrays that made her an even more formidable adversary. Overall, just an armor that boosts the already technologically advanced superhuman to another level. Number 3, Ngozi. Okay, so we've seen Ghost Panther and Panther Poole suits, but what about when the Black Panther is the host for a symbiote? A former track star who was in an accident that paralyzed her legs, Ngozi of Lagos, Nigeria eventually became bonded with the Venom symbiote. After Black Panther was killed by Rhino, who was trying to capture the symbiote, Ngozi and the symbiote instead defeated Rhino. Ngozi was recognized by the Dora Milaje, who took her to Wakanda, where she actually became the new temporary Black Panther. Ngozi herself now had the powers from the heart-shaped herb as well as the powers from the symbiote, so her habit was obviously a little different. Imagine the vibranium-laced armor plus a Venom symbiote suit. Why am I asking you to imagine this? It's a comic, we have pictures. Number 2. Heavenly Armor. This new thrice-blessed lightweight suit first appeared in Black Panther Volume 4, number 13, when he teamed up with Blade to fight vampires, which just the idea of that kind of sounds really cool. But this suit just makes it better. This suit has been consecrated in the name of the Panther God, and alongside the suit, he also wields the ebony blade of the Roman Catholic Church. This suit offers him other defenses and abilities than his regular suit. For example, it defends against attacks of a mystical nature. This Panther habit also allows him to fly if he reaches the right speed. It is also incredibly badass. I just wish we got to see more of it. Number 1. Wakanda Hulkbuster. Everybody knows Tony Stark has the Hulkbuster armor. Incredibly useful for taking on the Hulk if he ever loses control. But what I, and I'm sure a bunch of you didn't know, was that Black Panther has a Wakandan Hulkbuster. And boy, this armor is beautiful. It was created to go up against the new, totally awesome Hulk, Amadeus Cho. Unlike his Bruce counterpart, Amadeus Cho's Hulk is very in control, but everyone and their mums are afraid of what could happen. The Hulkbuster itself has sonic cannons, can fire spore clouds, and absorbs and magnifies energy. The armor eventually fails against Amadeus when he releases an EMP-like blast, rips the Buster's arm off, and rushes off to help his sister. But this armor very nearly brought him down, and all it takes is one story for it to be even more capable. Number 10. Stealth armor. Yes, Iron Man has a stealth suit. Are you surprised? You're gonna say no, right? Right? There are many iterations of this suit, but just for the sake of this video, and my sanity, we are only going to cover the first one. This appeared in Iron Man 152 when Tony used the suit to infiltrate the Heaven's Hand fortress. Now, the armor itself prioritizes stealth over everything else, meaning it isn't really meant for combat. But to make up for that, the suit has a radar absorbing coating, ECM jamming, and a plasma force field thingy to distort radar and sonar. It had stealthy flight capabilities, and eventually it also had camouflage. Later iterations were much more advanced, but this is probably one of the more useful suits for many different circumstances. 9. Endo-Sim armor. I saw some of you guys suggest this one, so I wanted to give it a spot. The Endo-Sim armor is a super slick and capable version of the Iron Man armor. A lot of you have probably heard of it, but whatever. This armor first fully debuted in the Superior Iron Man story when Tony's moral axis was switched. The suit is based off of symbiote biology, meaning the process of the liquid metal suiting up is completely psionic. It's basically almost alive, not having its own intelligence, but can form into an armor without the user inside of it to command it. Tony can even send the suit out onto another person to protect or trap them. The repulsors are uber powerful. It has rocket boosted punches, can absorb electromagnetic energy, and it's not weak to sonic attacks like most symbiotes. It's also super stylish. Number 8. Rescue armor. Thanks to the MCU, many people probably know that Pepper Potts has an Iron Man-like suit. Donning her armor, she becomes the hero Rescue. The armor was secretly designed by Tony for use by Pepper. The suit isn't really built for offense. Its specialties are more emergency search and rescue. The original thrusters don't even create heat, but it does have repulsors and finger lasers. The suit can fly and gives Pepper super speed and strength. It also lets her manipulate magnetic fields. The armor also is capable of generating force fields that are strong enough to catch airplanes, as an example. It generally remains the same in all its iterations, being used primarily for defense, except the MCU suit, which was clearly very offensive. Like, as in it could fight, not that it was offending people. Offensive. You get it. Alright, at number 7 is his Soldier Supreme suit. During the Infinity Wars storyline, Gamora captures all the souls in the universe and puts them into a soul gem, which also accidentally creates what comes to be known as Warp World. In this dimension, every soul that she captures has fused with another, creating all these beings that are inhabited by 2 different souls each. Not only that, but history is rewritten, including all of these beings as though they'd always existed. And that's where Soldier Supreme comes in, an amalgamation of Captain America and Doctor Strange. And you betcha that this amalgamation gives us a new suit design as well, which looks a lot like what you'd expect, a Captain America and Doctor Strange hybrid. Soldier Supreme's abilities allow him to have a perfect mixture of Doctor Strange's magical powers and Captain America's leadership skills. During the Warp World version of World War II, we see Cap healing downed comrades, while also leading them into battle, making what becomes one of the most powerful and useful iterations of Captain America out there. The only reason why I don't put this one at number 1 is because it could be argued that it isn't the suit giving him these powers, but Gamora's spell. But his suit does appear entirely different when he's transformed, and that's enough to squeeze it on this list. Okay, at number 6, we have the Commander America suit, worn by a descendant of the original Captain America, Steve Rogers V. This suit appears in an issue of What If, that poses the question, what if Cap and the rest of the team went up against the Guardians of the Galaxy? This suit has 5 generations of work done on it, giving it some added features that make the suit much more useful than the original, one of which is the space helmet.
attachment that allows the user to travel in space. This is a useful development considering that there are some major events in the Marvel Universe that take place in the expanse of the cosmos, as well as on other planets with different atmospheres. In a hypothetical situation where Steve Rogers has a closet full of all the suits on this list, past and future, this suit would probably get taken out more often than you might think, for any conflicts that take the team into the void. It's also got some cool chrome shoulder pads as well for when he gets hit in the shoulder. Okay, fine, it's mostly about the helmet. Okay, at number 5 is the Paradise X suit, which is barely a suit at all. It's more of a single American flag wrapped around the naked body of a godlike Captain America. In this storyline, Captain America has died along with other superpowered beings we know, and they are living, or rather existing, in a celestial realm called Paradise X. And instead of the Avengers, they're called the Avenging Hosts. It's pretty out there, but basically Captain America is a ghost type entity with mystical powers in this storyline, and he is able to fly. He's also able to shapeshift and tap into the memories of the other entities in this Paradise X realm. So yeah, that's all well and good that he's super powerful, you say, but how is his suit useful? Well, this one may be arguably one of the most useful suits on the list, considering it's the only thing that's preventing us all from witnessing this supernatural Cap's celestial parts. I'm serious. That's the genuine reason why this suit takes a spot on this list. Sure, I could argue that it supports his supernatural abilities, but we all know it's just a cloth. A very useful cloth that protects this comic book series from an X rating. Useful? I'd say so. Bit of a stretch? Maybe. I thought it was funny. At number 4, we have the 2099 suit developed by Alchemax. On Earth 23291, the Captain America identity belongs to a woman named Roberta Mendez. And in this reality, the Captain America suit is extremely powerful with a few new capabilities that make this suit stand out hugely from the rest. The two main features that really give this suit the edge are the energy wings and the energy sword that the suit is equipped with. Considering Roberta also has the super soldier serum coursing through her veins, everything that comes with the suit is an automatic plus. In the very start of the first issue of Secret Wars 2099, we see a bounty hunter trying to take a shot at Roberta, but is totally overpowered by this new flying ability of hers. And there's no question that anyone wearing the suit can call on these abilities, making these new powers not exclusive to the wearer of the suit, but of the suit itself. So with the types of threats coming at this reality's Avengers, they know that their leader will have no problem in both offensive and defensive stats. This definitely beats out a lot of the other armors worn by any Captain America across all realities. This superhero just isn't often seemed equipped with much other than a shield and maybe a sidearm, so energy weapons? Definitely a huge advantage for any Captain America as far as I'm concerned. Alright, at number 3 is the Hydra Supreme suit. In an alternate reality during the comic book event Secret Empire, Captain America is actually a bad guy, taking on the look of a darker, more brutal soldier than his original self. His shield has a more pointed, angular design to it, like that of a medieval knight, and the suit brings much more power to the one who wears it. This suit, when paired with the cosmic cube fragments, allows for the user to take control over Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. This, on its own, is enough of a point for this suit to score high on this list, but there's more. The suit also helps Captain America change the course of reality. Yes, this is sort of the cosmic cube doing this, but when paired with the armor, the wearer is also almost entirely impervious to harm. So I'm gonna argue that it's fair in this case. While wearing this suit, this evil version of Captain America actually strategizes successfully enough to take over Washington, D.C. and eventually all of the United States to try and instill his own order. Although his intentions are not by any means pure in this reality, this suit is undoubtedly one of the most powerful that any version of Steve Rogers wears, and for that reason, it deserves a spot on the list. At number 2 is one you most likely have heard of before, but it needed to make it on the list just because of how insanely useful it is compared to the original suit, and that is the Sam Wilson Falcon uniform. This suit is given to Sam Wilson when Steve Rogers wanes off of the super soldier serum and gives up the mantle of Captain America, and it is a huge upgrade. Taking on the abilities of Falcon and Captain America at once, this suit allows for flight and rocket and machine gun fire out of the wings. On top of this, we see how strong these wings can be when used to shield Wilson in battle. This gives the suit the added bonus of a nearly indestructible full body shield made of vibranium. on top of the iconic handheld shield passed down with the Captain America mantle. The shield can also clip into a holster on his back, giving him protection from behind when he doesn't see it coming. This suit is such a major upgrade from the original and could probably be maneuvered by anyone who puts it on, giving it sophistication. So there's no arguing that this suit on its own could be pretty useful to anyone with fighting and piloting skills, and it's probably one of the closest things that Captain America has to an Iron Man suit, other than our number one, which is the exoskeleton suit. This is an extremely useful suit for Captain America given the circumstances he finds himself in issue 437. Sometime in the future, Captain America has been rendered completely paralyzed after contracting an illness from the super soldier serum. So, none other than Tony Stark designs him a suit that, much like the Iron Man suit, can actually get him up and walking around again, and fighting around again, and in arguably an even more effective capacity than ever before. The suit is designed to offer extreme protection due to the sophisticated armor and some other nifty effects as well, like beams that he can shoot out of his palms that cause severe cases of vertigo, and magnetic gloves and missile protection that offered Cap a lot of good defense against serious threats. Yeah, they're not the most destructive features, but this is actually intentional. Tony Stark decides to keep the suit entirely non-lethal to keep Steve Rogers' values in line, allowing him to face evil without stooping to their level. So not only is this suit useful to compensate for and basically cure his paralysis, but it's also arguably a really great suit to return to if he's ever facing an offensive threat that might require heavy armor. He can also call on the armor to attach to him within seconds because he was, totally paralyzed. But this is also a feature that's basically unprecedented for Captain America and would be useful with or without the plight of full body paralysis.
Number 10. Dick Grayson's Batsuit. After the fall of Azrael Batman, Dick Grayson was the next best option, even if it wasn't what either him or Bruce wanted. Grayson made some significant changes to the Batsuit to better the suit to his style and preferences. For example, he said, "No capes!" just like Edna Mode from The Incredibles. No, he didn't, but I wanted to say it. He did actually include a cape, but it was much lighter and had more specific parachute-like functions. He changed the utility belt too, making it metal and streamlined. No longer a big pouchy leather belt, it had mechanical compartments instead. While not useful for any specific moment, it was useful in allowing Dick Grayson to take up the Batman mantle more effectively when he needed to. Number 9. The Hazbat Suit. Batman is famous for being prepared for any situation. One such situation would be bioattacks, bioweapons, contagions, and other related issues. Of course Batman has a plan. The Robin named Hazbat Suit is a lightweight suit that protects Batman from any airborne contagion. It also has medical scanners that aid Batman in locating the source and counter-agent to any infection he may be affected by. But this suit is not a pushover either, just because it's medically based. It's able to withstand hits from Superman. Seems like a pretty useful suit to me. Number 8. Azrael. After the extremely famous Batman moment where Bane broke Bruce Wayne's back, there was a need for someone to take up the Batman mantle. Bruce Wayne's choice ended up being John Paul Valley, otherwise known as the anti-hero Azrael. Due to his mental conditioning, while with the Order of St. Dumas, he was a much more violent Azbat, even allowing people to die. His suit reflected not only his violent tendencies, but the era in the 90s that it premiered in. John Paul created a gray, yellow, and blue battle suit with red accents. It had flamethrowers, gun batarangs, claws, and a night vision helmet. His violent ways forced the return of Batman, and the sweet suit was abandoned. But some of its capabilities would certainly have been useful in lots and lots of situations. Number 7. Bleeding Edge Armor. So the Bleeding Edge armor is a lot like the armor we see in the Infinity War and Endgame movies, meaning it's almost like a liquid armor. It's actually made of microbots, but hey, tomato tomato. The bots can take the form of clothes, other armors, or even beings upon Tony's skin. As well as that, the suit can form a bunch of different weapons. The part about this suit that I think makes it ultimately the most useful is its RT node. This powers both the suit and Tony's transhuman body. It grants him a crazy augmented intelligence and superhuman multitasking and learning abilities. Meaning, it makes a super genius even more super genius-y. Number 6. Ice Armor. This armor, more than anything, shows the vast range of Tony Stark's mind. The Ice Armor came to be when Tony Stark was sent back in time to 1 million BC. Tony had to make this suit out of whatever materials he had around. So at the time, it was a limited amount of vibranium that he turned into batteries and circuitry of his ruined modern armor. The suit defensively was kind of impressive, considering it was able to hold up against a fight with Mephisto, even if it got damaged. The weapon systems were super low tech, like so low tech it fired icicles. I'm sure this was pretty high tech though for 1 million BC. Number 5. Iron Destroyer Armor. During the Fear Itself storyline, the god Odin let Tony Stark have access to the forges of Nidavellir to create weapons to counter the Serpent and his forces. Tony created a whole bunch of Uru metal weapons for himself and a group of other heroes. Tony merged the systems of his bleeding edge armor with the Uru metal, turning it into the Iron Destroyer. When Odin left back to Asgard at the end of the fight, the powers of the Uru weapons and the Iron Destroyer armor disappeared. So Tony removed the Uru from the suit and gave it back to the forges along with the rest of the weapons to be melted down and reforged into something else. This armor, as well as the other Uru weapons created, were so sweet. If he could have kept it, the armor would have been extremely useful against so many different threats. Number 4. Renaissance Armor. The Renaissance Armor first appeared in Iron Man Volume 3, Number 1, and was created to be a safe. The Renaissance Armor first appeared in Iron Man Volume 3, Number 1, and was created to be a safe armor. Safe from exposure to other suits' power systems that were causing health problems. So yeah, just based on that, it's already much more useful. It had a sonic ramshot weapon in addition to normal sonic weapons, repulsors, pulse bolts, and a unibeam. It had tear gas pellets and a fire extinguishing foam in the left gauntlet. It also had a really cool hamster ball force field bubble thing to protect civilians. It almost seems like it would be a really good riot suit or something like that. Hey y'all, let me stop you for a little word from our sponsors. It's you. Thanks to all your support, we're able to keep bringing you these videos, so thanks a lot. And don't forget to shoot your repulsors at that like button. Okay, on to the top 3. Number 3, the Phoenix Killer Armor. The Model 38, or the Phoenix Killer Armor, first appeared in Avengers vs. X-Men number 5, and was created to counteract the Phoenix. Obviously. So the armor's main purpose was to kill the Phoenix Force. And if you don't know, the Phoenix Force is one of the oldest cosmic entities in the Marvel Universe. It's basically the manifestation of the force of life. It's one of the most powerful and feared entities in the Marvel landscape. And Tony was like, I can kill this with lasers. No, you can't. But what you did do, Tony, was split it in 5, which resulted in 5 mutants, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Namor, Colossus, and Magik becoming avatars to the Phoenix Force. Congratulations, you played yourself. Number 2, Model 53. The Iron Man armor Model 53 was made after Tony's normal armor failed to stop an evil clone of Squirrel Girl. So I'm calling this a Squirrel Girl Buster armor, and you can't stop me, okay? Cool. It was made for the single purpose of countering the abilities of Squirrel Girl. It's got a super cute squirrel head, which has a backup of that aforementioned RT node. It's got repulsors, obviously, but they're strong enough to even knock out Black Panther. And it sort of looks like a Hulkbuster armor, which is interesting. When the evil clone defeats all the other Avengers that Iron Man had assembled, the clone uses their weapons to defeat this suit. But if she didn't have that, Iron Man would probably have been able to take the win here. Probably. Number 1, Model 60. This armor is very interesting. You see, its main ability was to be able to switch into its transportation mode, which was, wait for it, a Vespa. A Vespa that Tony used to go on a date with Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. Get it? Because Vespa is Italian for wasp. Very slick, Tony. Very slick indeed. The Vespa, plus the helmet Tony wears, can form into an Iron Man suit, which it did when the two were attacked by robots sent by Banetronics. It does all the same things an Iron Man suit does, plus it has a cool energy sword, but it turns into a Vespa, which is the best part about this useful armor. Number 10, Spider-Man Noir. This one is coming in at number 10 because people in the comments will tell me it's very well known. Yeah, I know, but it's awesome. So, I don't know, deal with it. On Earth 90214, Peter Parker modeled his spider suit after his Uncle Ben's World War I air pilot uniform. But I mean, no, he modeled it after being totally awesome. With that trench coat and the fedora hat, the goggles, the vest, he even carries a pistol. He used what he had in the 1930s to create a spider detective. You love it, I love it, We all love it, and it always deserves to be talked about when we talk about Spider-Man suits. Always. Number 9, the Bombastic Bagman. If you don't know about this suit, you're welcome. It has appeared twice. Both times are equally hilarious. The first time it ever appeared was when Peter removed the symbiote costume with the help of Reed Richards and Johnny Storm, and had no choice but to put on an extra Fantastic Four costume, but those costumes don't have masks. So what did he do? Make a new one, I hear you say? Don't be silly. No. Johnny poked eye holes in a paper bag and put it on Peter's head. But that's not all. Oh no. It seems as though someone placed a kick me sign on the back of the costume too, as if it wasn't all embarrassing enough. Adam, how is this useful? Because it's hilarious. Oh, and it's a really great last minute costume idea to keep his identity secret. Yeah, that's why. Number 8, the Canadian Spider Suit. In an alternate reality, first seen in Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History Volume 1, Number 6, Ben Reilly wore a suit that differs a little bit from its blue and red counterpart. This suit had a black and red color scheme. The aesthetic webbing looked very suspiciously like plaid. It had brown leather gloves and boots, and the chest spider symbol was inside of a pinkish white maple leaf-like shape. I can't possibly tell what they were going for here. Oh, you know what? I think, yeah, it's a Canadian Spider-Man. Other than the aesthetic, Canadian Spider Ben Reilly is exactly the same as his 616 counterpart, but way more apologetic and probably slightly more resistant to cold weather. Number 7, Cold Iron Armor. Everything in the War of the Realms related stories is just so metal. The Cold Iron Armor first appeared in Iron Man Volume 5, number 24 back in 2014, and came to be when Tony was on a stealth mission in the dark elf homeworld of Svartalfheim. The armor itself is actually worn over top of another suit, and it's completely made of iron. Iron is actually a metal that is lethal for dark elves, so it's kind of weird that Iron Man wasn't the first one called, but this is actually an Iron Man armor. Like, actually iron. Its weapons include a fireable iron hook, a cloud of iron nails, and these super sweet iron claws on each arm. Just look at this thing. Number 6, God Killer Armor Mark II. Bet you didn't know that Tony Stark had a celestial-sized suit of armor powered by 8 nuclear reactors that is just casually orbiting Mars. Or, I guess if you read Avengers Volume 8, Number 5, you would. This armor entered the fray when the Dark Celestials attacked the Earth and battled alongside giant versions of She-Hulk, Thor, and Ghost Rider. While there are other versions of the God Killer armor, this one is my favorite. And the fact that it was kept orbiting Mars just in case really feels like something Tony Stark would do. Number 5, Deep Space Armor. This is probably the one armor on this list that most people have heard of. This suit was created when Tony Stark took a vacation from Earth and went out into space with the Guardians of the Galaxy. The suit can use an autopilot in emergencies and even allows Tony to control suits hundreds of light years away back on Earth. It's a modular suit too, allowing for things like enhanced back thrusters and wrist-mounted explosive launchers. It even has an extension that allows for lunar landings. It can travel at warp and sub-warp speeds, which is useful for space travel. Just overall for space travel, this suit is the most useful of all the Iron Man armors. 4, the Ablative Armor. This armor was pretty unique. It consisted of tons and tons of little honeycomb-shaped tiles that are all held together by a force field. The idea was that the tiles would break on impact, better absorbing impacts that a solid piece of armor was less useful for. Anytime a tile would be destroyed or fall out of the force field, it would be replaced by another tile, which is good for a suit of armor. These tiles could even separate from the armor itself and be used as projectiles or as countermeasures. Overall, it's just an armor with so many unique and useful capabilities, and I hope we see more of it. Hey you nerds! Before we get on to the top 3, I just wanted to say a quick thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, why not hit us with a like and maybe subscribe? It really helps us out to continue giving you videos. Alright, moving on. Number 3, the Nano Iron Man Armor. Now this is a bit less of a traditional armor. When battling Fin Fang Foom, Tony initially used the giant Fin Fang Foom Buster armor, but when that failed, he instead shot a pod of thousands of nano Iron Man armor microbots into the dragon thingy's blood. The bots were then remotely operated to investigate Fin Fang Foom and then fight his antibodies and travel to his brainstem, where the armors were used to destroy the control disk. Nanobots are a technology we're trying to develop in the real world to solve thousands of problems, mainly medical in nature. So this is an extremely useful armor. Number 2, Thor Buster armor. Now most people know about the famous Hulk Buster suit thanks to the MCU, and just because it's awesome. But did you know Tony has made a Thor Buster armor as well? There are actually a few Asgardian based Iron Man armors, and they are all extremely awesome and useful. But to me, an armor to counteract the God of Thunder directly seems the coolest. He used the armor to go toe to toe with the God of Thunder, who is already massively powerful. But Thor was actually boosted up by the power of the Odin Force at the time. The armor was able to manipulate Asgardian energies like the Odin Force, which served Tony well. He was even capable of stopping Mjolnir mid-fight. Unfortunately, Thor destroyed the suit's reactor, forcing Tony to eject. But if this armor could trade punches with Odin Force Thor, it would be extremely useful facing any Asgardian related threat. Number 1, the Virtual Armor. This suit is probably the most unique of all of Tony Stark's armors. It's also the most recent suit on this list. The virtual suit first debuted in Iron Man 2020 Volume 2, Number 5, when Tony Stark had his consciousness pulled out of his body to save his life, and it resulted in the virtual armor, which was made from the resources of the 13th floor, which is basically a virtual reality built of solid light. Look, it's hard to explain, okay? The virtual armor could allow Tony to create any weapon he can think of. It augmented his strength, it protects against weapons fire, and it's invisible by default, acting as almost a force field around Tony. It can separate to form a prison-like bubble. The suit even somehow still allows him to fly and protects him from the vacuum of space. I have no idea how it works. At all. And it's the most comic booky thing I've ever heard of, but its almost limitless possible capabilities easily make it the most useful Iron Man suit. Casper Cole. Before Kevin Casper Cole became the White Tiger, he was a narcotics officer. Seeking a promotion, he and a few other officers began performing unsanctioned drug busts. Casper wore a bulletproof Black Panther costume that he took from his boss, which absolutely gave him an edge. Like when he and his other officers were ambushed by a crooked cop that resulted in the other officers being put in the ICU. Casper was suspended for not wearing his vest, and he posed as the Black Panther for a time to bring down Sal and the 66 Bridges gang. Other than the usual benefits of a Panther habit, Kevin's suit sported a trench coat and many more pockets and pouches as he wielded actual 9mm pistols. I almost want to call it Detective Panther suit. Number 9, Hell's Kitchen. After being ambushed by Dr. Doom, who put T'Challa in a coma, another had to take up the role of Black Panther. T'Challa lost his enhanced abilities, and after the events of Doom War, he rendered all of Wakanda's vibranium inert. So, no powers, no vibranium, and no longer the ruler of Wakanda. How about a vacation to Hell's Kitchen? After being possessed by a demonic entity, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, needed time to recover and rediscover himself away from his home, and he left the defense of Hell's Kitchen to T'Challa. Enter the Black Panther Man Without Fear story. As the now depowered street-level defender of Hell's Kitchen, T'Challa had to rely on the basics, such as his body armor, homemade gadgets, and his fighting ability. This suit doesn't really display its own usefulness. I'd say that instead, it displays the usefulness and ingenuity of T'Challa himself. Stop right there, criminal scum. Kidding. You're only a criminal because you're so criminally good looking. Okay, I've given you a compliment. Now you give me one by liking and subscribing. I think this is a good trade-off. I boost your confidence. You support this channel so we don't fall into the black abyss of obscurity. Cool. Thanks. Love you guys. Number 8. Wedding suit. A bit more of an unconventional pick for a list like this. Back in 2006, during the time of the Marvel Civil War storyline, a wedding took place. A wedding between the King of Wakanda, the Black Panther, T'Challa, and the X-Men, African princess, and some people say goddess, Aurora Monroe. Storm. The event itself was built up for a few issues in the 2005 Black Panther storyline, and in issue number 18, it finally took place. In this event, T'Challa dons a more ceremonial panther habit, a gold necklace and a gold belt, and the classic cape. This suit doesn't serve a special function in combat outside of serving as a wedding suit, but marriage is its own kind of combat, am I right?
At number 7, it's the stealth suit, also known by fans as the big time costume. After facing off against the new Hobgoblin in the Amazing Spider-Man number 649 and 650, Peter goes back to Horizon Labs where he'd been working a day job and designs the suit to be better, well, suited for the fight. This costume is extremely useful in that it's got a few different settings for different matchups. In camo mode, the suit turns green and keeps him invisible both visually and audibly to anyone who he doesn't want seeing him. This means that through certain lenses held by his allies, the green outlines can be seen so they know where he is in battle. The other mode is called anti-sound mode, which turns the suit red, and it cancels out all sonic-based attacks like the new Hobgoblin supersonic attacks. The suit also has anti-metal spiders that can shoot out the top of his wrists that will eat away at and dissolve metal. And the suit can also repair any tears in the fabric at the command of the wearer's thoughts. At number 6, we've got Spidey's Future Foundation costume. This suit is designed by the Future Foundation, which is kind of like the revised Fantastic Four, and it has a really cool black and white finish. But that's not what this list is about. The suit is also extremely handy and implements some pretty futuristic technology known as third generation unstable molecules. This technology allows Peter Parker to switch from the black and white look to the classic red and blue, or even his civilian clothes in an instant with just a thought. The suit also can't get dirty due to the unstable molecules, which is pretty cool. But the most useful part of this suit is probably its stealth capabilities, which allow Spidey to go almost completely invisible. This feature is particularly useful when he needs to swing around at night without being seen. It's just a great suit that helps Peter Parker's already formidable powers to shine even more, and it's just one of the coolest looking ones, in my opinion. Okay, number 5, we've got the Spider-Man 2099 suit. This spider suit has a cape. Yes! It's kinda small, but it's a frickin' cape. First worn by Miguel O'Hara in Spider-Man 2099 number 1, this suit was originally designed for Miguel to wear at a Day of the Dead celebration. Yes, this suit was meant for partying, but very soon became much more than that, with an upgraded version actually incorporating jet boots. I think this is such a cool addition to a Spider-Man suit because it makes a lot of sense to enhance his swinging capabilities. It's also got GPS sensors, allowing the wearer to navigate around the city effortlessly. Sadly, in the newer iteration of the suit, the cape was scrapped, but in its place are these tiny web wings that allow the wearer to glide a bit more in the air. This suit is just a lot of fun and would be very useful for day-to-day crime fighting around the city because it allows this Spider-Man to reach new speeds in the air, and I would imagine longer times between web swings. It also just looks really cool again. Okay, fine, they all look cool, but I just have to say it still. Okay, at number 4, we've got the Iron Spider armor created by Tony Stark. In many realities, Peter Parker either turns down this suit or retires it quickly for various reasons, but thankfully, he does make use of it a few times. We've all had the pleasure of seeing how this suit looks in all its 4K MCU glory, but what's really great about this suit is what it can do. Firstly, the most notable feature, visually speaking, are the mechanical spider arms, which are actually called Waldos for some reason. These arms actually have cameras on the tips of them to peer around corners, and small grippers built to the end of the tips so they could act as extra arms for climbing and getting around. The suit can glide as well, allowing Spider-Man to move around a bit in the air and underwater, because the suit also has a state-of-the-art mask filter that allows for nuclear, biological, and chemical filtration, as well as 8 minutes of clean oxygen if the wearer needed to explore something underwater. There are so many more things to cover as well. This suit is basically just as protective as the classic Iron Man suit, and with all these extra abilities, it just adds so much more power to Peter Parker's already impressive abilities. Alright, at number 3, we've got Spider Armor Mark III, otherwise known as the Ends of the Earth suit. This suit is created in Horizon Labs by Peter Parker as a last resort to help take down the Sinister Six. But I guess Peter works well under pressure because this suit is insane. Starting with the helmet, it has super hearing capabilities designed to pick up on Chameleon's heartbeat. The helmet could also communicate with Spider-Man's fellow teammates in battle with a comm link system. It also has a holographic sensor allowing the wearer to see through Mysterio's holograms and illusions, and it's capable of repelling Electro entirely, turning him back into human form on command, which is pretty cool. The suit allows for Spider-Man to fly with jet boosters and enhances web shooters that allow the user to fire more webs than the typical suits. Not only that, but the utility belt on the suit carries multiple cartridges of different types of webbing, also spider tracers and ice spiders. And listen, I'm leaving out a few things for time's sake too. Listen, the only reason why this suit doesn't take number 1 is because its abilities were catered pretty specifically to the feat of taking down the Sinister Six. So, in other cases, it might not be quite as effective as it is facing off in this specific scenario, but that's only one small fault for a very useful suit. Pretty nuts. At number 2, we're graduating from the term useful and veering more into absolutely overpowered with Spider-Man's Captain Universe suit. Alright, fine, this isn't really a suit per se. Like, it's not something any old Peter Parker could slip on and off, but it's still a suit and it's still extremely useful. This suit was created when Spider-Man was involved in a lab accident, but unlike the radioactive spider situation, this time he's actually given what's called the Uni-Power, making him one of the most powerful Spider-Man characters we've ever come across. He's got Univision, which endows him with a sort of cosmic consciousness, allowing him to sense things not just coming at him in the macro world, but he can sense things on a subatomic level, bringing the Spidey senses to a whole new meaning. This power also allows him to get people to tell the truth, which is pretty handy, I'd say. In Captain Universe form, Spider-Man can also manipulate energy, allowing him to fly. And above all this, the actual suit allows Spider-Man to withstand extremes in temperatures, allowing the wearer to traverse basically any environment on Earth and possibly beyond. He also has enough strength to punch the Hulk into orbit. And yes, it may be arguable that this isn't the suit allowing for this kind of power, but the suit and the powers kind of come together in this instance, so it remains on the list. Okay, at number 1, it is the Amazing Spider-Man suit, or Spider Armor Mark IV. Okay, here we go. This suit can detect magic, infrared and X-ray beams, scan injured people to determine their injuries, and even detect plasma levels in blood to help administer first aid on a superhuman level. And in this iteration of the Spider Armor, the different webbing is available not by switching out cartridges on a waistband, but by voice command. So the wearer just has to say the word and the web shooter will go from shooting regular webs to electrified webs to concrete webbing, which is a web with such strong durability that it was able to stop an Aztec god in its tracks. The suit also has an array of defensive capabilities like administering antidotes if the wearer comes into contact with poison, as well as stealth and camo abilities as well. I'm missing so much just to keep this one short, but it's fair to say that this suit is the most widely useful as of posting this video, and I just can't wait to see what comes with the Spider Armor Mark V.